Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to a safety meeting gameplay series. Today we are in Rising World. Now this episode it's going to be kind of a combination of an update review and a tutorial. So what I'm going to do is just go through the 0.7.1 update that just came out on June 21st, I believe it was, which as of this recording was just a couple of days ago. Right now we're on my personal server and I started out at night on purpose because we are looking at one of the new updates right now, and that is the night sky. Now in the update it says that the sky has been unblurred, I guess you can say. So now you can see all the detail of the stars and everything. And now that we have the sunrise, wow, this is perfect timing. We got the sunrise coming up so you can see the clouds and everything, and stars are starting to fade away. So that's one of the newest updates, is just the change on the visuals of the sky. And we got a bunch of cool stuff along with it as well. So here's what we're going to do. Now, kind of what I said, this is going to be a combination episode of a tutorial and just an update review. So I think this should be a pretty good episode for both people that own the game and people that are kind of on the fence about getting the game. Because I know one thing that I do quite often is I'll just look at some videos to see how some of the updates and things like that are going. And that kind of swings my direction of whether or not I'm going to actually get the game. So for those of you that are just kind of taking a sneak peek at what the updates are, I'm glad to have you. And for those of you that already have the game, let's check out what we've got going on here. Now I'm in survival right now, and you can see that I am very, very thirsty. And I kind of did that on purpose, so we can look at the first item that we have on our list here. Now let's go. I kind of randomly have all of my tables placed here because I was building something earlier, and I didn't really pay any attention to how I had them actually placed. So never mind the mess. Alright, so the newest item in our update is found in the basic crafting table. And what we want to do is go down to utilities. Now you can see that we now have a bucket and we have a canteen, and we're going to make both of these right now. And in order to do that, we need 4 iron plates for the bucket and 1 iron plate for the canteen. And in order to do that, you got to go into here and make your plates with the anvil and all that kind of fun stuff. But I already went through ahead of time and did that. So we got everything that we need right here, I hope. Alright, let's get back to our crafting table here, because I'm probably going to die of thirst here shortly. Alright, so let's make both of these right now. We'll get the canteen going and the bucket. Okay, so now we got the canteen in our hand, so to speak. Oop, I'm starting to die of thirst here. We're flashing red, so we got to get down here. Alright, let's get ourselves some water here. So we got the canteen in our hand. Now, we actually have a way to carry water around with us. So instead of taking an empty hand, we take our canteen and we right click and we just dip it into the water. And you can see in the top right, I think you can see that up there. Here, look, I'll put it in the water. There's a little picture of the canteen up there, and it has a green line in it. That green line is actually the level of water in our canteen. So before I die, let's take a drink. So right click, you can see we drank some water. Green line is starting to go down every time we take a drink. Alright, so now we have an empty canteen. I'm not going to die of thirst. So obviously the best feature of this is portable water. Now you don't have to rely on finding little ponds and stuff like that when you're exploring. So that's a really cool feature of the game. So right now my thirst is quenched. We have a full canteen. I'm just going to go into my inventory and we're going to put the canteen onto the back burner there now. Now I'm not exactly sure how long thirst actually lasts in the game. I've honestly never paid any attention to that. So it's a good thing that we have that canteen in there now. So now we can pretty much just go about whatever we feel like doing and not have to worry about thirst. Alright, so let's get on to the bucket. Let's see what this thing does. Now, I actually haven't even had much of a chance to play around with the bucket. So from what I understand, we can place water with this now. So I think... Here, let's do this. I don't really want to accidentally mess something up on my little pond over here. So I was playing around with doing a little waterfall over here just to kind of see how stuff would look. Hello, Mr. Moose. Would you like to join me in a tutorial today? Hey, that's nice. Alright, so I think this is going to be a good spot here. Hopefully Mr. Moose doesn't want to kill us here. Let's come down here and we're going to right click. No, sweet. Alright, so we got a bucket of water. Now, from what I understand, we can place this now. Oh, very cool. Like I said, I haven't even had a chance to really play around with this too much. There, I got an idea. Let's do this real fast. Wonder how big of an area this actually covers. Okay, I just want to try something real fast. We're going to go over to the block bench. And just to make a quick little stone frame. Let's see, do I have anything? Oh, what is that? We do have some stone, but that's not going to be enough. All right, we're gonna cheat a little bit here just for the sake of time. That looks good. We'll use you. I'm just kind of curious. I think if we wanted to do a well or something like that. Okay. Alright, so this is super crude. I know that. I'm just going to get rid of this once we're done. This is just more of a curiosity thing for me. So let's get back into regular mode here. And where is my bucket? Alright, let's see what happens when we pour it in here. Okay, so one bucket didn't really fill up a whole lot. That's what I wanted to find out, was just to kind of see how big of an area this actually covered. So let's see how much it takes to fill up this little hole I just made. Alright, looks like one more will probably do it. I have no idea what I'm doing here. That's why I'm just experimenting. That's how I learn everything. My famous last words are going to be, hey, what does this do? Alright, this should do it here. Let's see. We'll put it up into the corner a little bit. Ooh, it's deep. I guess that's a lot deeper than I thought. Alright, so 3 or 4 bucketfuls to get yourself a little well or something going. Now, if we take this out, will it remove it? So apparently you can pick water up and move it, but you can't actually get rid of it. So you probably have to... Well, let's see what happens here. Another curiosity thing. Can you chop water? No. Can you chop water in creative? No. Alright, good to know. Okay, onward and upward. Literally, the next thing on our list here is scaffolding. Now, the scaffolding, that's been a long-awaited item. I see that in the forums all the time, people waiting for scaffolding. So, let's go over... Here, let's go back to our little secret chest over here, because I got a ton of lumber. I messed around with the scaffolding for a minute, but I didn't get a chance to go too in-depth with it. So let's check out the scaffolding and see what some of our options are for this. Now for that, all we need is a ton of lumber. And it's got its own little section here under scaffolding. So what we can do is... Now for those of you that don't know what scaffolding is, it's basically just a way to access taller walls and things like that while you're building. So we've got a regular scaffolding. We got one with a ramp so we can get up and down. Here's just a frame. I don't know exactly what we're going to use that for. And then we also have a small one to kind of fit into some tighter spots. So the regular scaffolding is 20 lumber and the ramp is 20 as well. So let's craft one of those, one of these. All right, let's do these 3. I'm not going to do the frame because it's pretty much the same thing as the regular scaffolding, just without the surface. So like the one thing that I would probably end up using scaffolding for is I do plan on doing some stuff to the side of my house here. Normally what I was doing while I'm building in survival mode is you'll stack some blocks up or something like that and make a little stairway to get yourself up to the roof. But now with the scaffolding, let's see. All right, so the one with the ramp is number 2. Oh wow, that's a perfect height. Awesome. So this is our first section of scaffolding, and if you use your arrow keys, you can rotate it just like you can with any other item in the game. And I know another thing that got implemented in the update, more items have a help menu now. If you press F1, now we have all the options that we can use for the scaffolding. So left and right arrow keys rotates, mouse left, hold it to enable free looking, mouse right, hold to place the object at the current position. Okay, so I didn't know that about the mouse left button, so let's escape to get out of here. So if we hold mouse left... Oh, okay, that's cool. If we hold mouse left, we can actually kind of take a quick wander around to see if it's in the position that we like. So That's a cool feature to have for sure. Alright, so let's right click this and place it. So there's our first set of scaffolding. Might be a little bit too far away, but that's okay. Now what we can do with that other section that we have is extend it. Let's see if it snaps. Okay, yeah, it snaps if you point right at it. So you can either free place it on the ground, or if you point right at the first piece, hold right click, good to go. Alright, so now we have access to our roof without using any of our precious blocks when we're in survival. That's really cool. So we can jump up onto the roof. Now we got access to finally paint our window trim and all that kind of fun stuff. Now the nice thing with the scaffolding, it does take a little bit of lumber to make the first time, but now that we have it, it's ours to keep. Now if we walk up to it and hold the action key, now I think the default action key is F. I can never remember. I switched mine to E. So I'm going to hold my action key and we can actually take our scaffolding with us. And now we can run around to the other side of the house if we need to and do some maintenance over here. So this is something I'm going to definitely use a ton because I really like to build in survival mode. But I don't like putting the little stairways blocks going all the way up. So this is definitely going to add to the realism. I think that's one of my favorite parts to this update right now, other than the canteen. Now the next item on our agenda is more for people that have their own multiplayer server, if you're the owner or the admin. And what you can do now is actually add custom pages to the journal. And that's one of the reasons why I did this episode inside of my server, because I started playing around with it a little bit. Now it's not finished completely yet, but one of the things that you can do now, if you press the J button, now you can see in our table of contents, we have server notes, and that's part of this newest update. If you go on to risingworld.net, and I'll leave a link below in the description for this, there's actually a link where you can get the XML file for the example journal file. Now, I'm not going to get too involved here with the journal aspect of this. I'm just going to kind of show off some of the features of it. I think I might end up doing an actual tutorial on the journal because it's not involved, but it's not easy. Some of the formatting is a little bit strange, so you gotta kind of have to play around with a little bit. So I was just playing around a little bit just to see how this whole journal worked, and I just put a little description of the server and some of the server rules and how to contact me and stuff like that. Okay, so on to the next one. Now we have a preview grid when we place stone and dirt. So here, let's go, we're starting to get nighttime here, so let's go someplace where we can see a little bit better. We'll just we'll mess around in this little corner right here. Alright, so let's get some dirt in our hand. Now you can see right off the bat there, we had a little grid pop up. Now again, if you press F1, it's going to give us all the options of what we can do with this grid. There's not a ton that you can do with this, but it is nice just for a quick little preview of what you can do. So you can move this grid around horizontally or vertically using the arrow keys. You can also move it up and down using page up, page down, and you can also use, I think, the plus and minus keys on your number pad. And if you press the control button, it kind of freezes the grid in place and you can walk around and see if that's where you want to place it. For me, that's a little bit more high-tech than what I need to get with placing dirt and stone. There's a lot of people out there that like to sculpt and kind of play around with the terrain and stuff like that. So for that, that'll be an awesome feature. Now, I don't think there's a way to expand this grid. I'm not exactly sure. I think you can only move it up and down because we're just kind of limited to placing one little bit of stone or dirt at a time. But if you press the page up and page down, you can actually control where it's going to go. So let's see what this does. Right now, it's flush with the ground. So if we place it, it doesn't really do much. Just kind of made a little dirt spot there. Let's go up one. So that adjusted the height a little bit. So now here's where the control comes into play. Normally all we were able to do is just place another one right on top of that. But with this grid, we can come over here. If we don't want to put another one up that high, page down, we can actually place one a little bit lower. We'll go page down again, see what that does. So you got a lot of control now of what you can do with your terrain. And it works the exact same way with rock. There's probably other stuff that this does that I just don't know about. Right now, everything that I'm showing you is just what I figured out so far. So for any of these features or anything like that, if there's something that I'm missing, definitely leave that in the comments below. Because one thing that I always tell everybody is I am far from an expert at this game. I'm just kind of chugging along like everybody else here, figuring stuff out. So any tips and tricks are always appreciated. All right, so I think that takes care of it with the dirt and all of that stuff. That's just something that I wanted to show the grid real fast, and that it's a new option that's available. Looks like I'm starting to starve again here. I don't have any food with me, but I will take a drink. All right. So now the next updated item, here, let's get this out of here. I was just looking at it a second ago, is that right there. That is called technical smoke. Here, let's get into fly mode here for a second. So this is called technical smoke. Now what technical smoke allows us to do is actually just place little puffs of smoke around. Now from what it sounds like, these things are pretty strenuous on server performance and stuff like that. So be very cautionary when you're using these. Don't go crazy and start putting them everywhere. Like try to make a mock forest fire or something like that, because you'll probably end up crashing something out. But just to show you how this works real fast, here, let's go back down here. And from what I understand, there's 3 different sizes of smoke. There's a 0, a 1, and a 2. 0 being the smallest, 2 being the tallest, if I'm understanding this correctly. Because so far I've only placed that one little puff of smoke. So if this is something that you're interested in, press the tilde key, the little squiggle next to the number 1. And all you need to do is type in object technical underscore smoke, and then whatever size you want. Now I think up on the roof that was a 0. Let's try 2 and see what that does. So object technical smoke 2, hit enter, and now you can see item 43 has been given. Okay, so that is number 3 slot. Because it's smoke, we can't see it. Now the one thing that it doesn't do, it doesn't give you a preview of what it's actually going to look like. So if I'm doing this correctly, like I said, I'm just kind of fumbling through all of this myself here. We're going to put the smoke right here. So from what I understand, the way that it's worked so far, wherever your crosshairs are, that's where the base of the smoke is going to start. So I'm going to hit right click. There we go. Now we got a little hot spring going right here. That's actually kind of cool looking. So that's technical smoke number 2, and I think that's the largest of them. There's technical smoke 0 and 1. So that's how you do that. But like I said, be very cautious with that stuff, because you might end up crashing out your server. Now the rest of the updates aren't really anything that can be shown. There's an experimental update for finding your base coordinates, and it's only for single player. That if you type find base, it's supposed to pop up your actual spawn point. So I haven't had a chance to play with that, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. There's also a new whitelist and blacklist feature for multiplayer servers, but I'm having a couple of issues with that right now. And the rest are pretty much just bug fixes, I think. One of the biggest ones was when you look through glass, the water disappeared, so that got fixed. So you can actually see lakes and stuff like that while looking through windows. Now, I'm sure I'm probably leaving something out, but I wanted to take care of the more important ones anyway. So if I did leave anything out, my apologies. But I think I pretty much got everything covered. Now, I really do like that. That looks kind of cool as a hot spring. I might actually just end up leaving that there. Alright, so I think that should just about do it. I hope that helped you. If it did, leave in the comments below. I'd like to know. And as always, I appreciate everybody for watching. And if you enjoyed the episode, leave me a like. I appreciate that as well. And I will see you guys next time for another episode of Rising World.